Hello and welcome back to week 2 of our current scene coloring breakdown series here on the Sweet November Stamps YouTube channel. I am Amy. I am co-owner and illustrator for Sweet November Stamps. And last week we started this really fun postcard themed scene combining our Aloha Wees set with some of the stamps and die from the Greetery. They create the postcard die and their Postal modern stamp set that coordinates with it. Because I was inspired by our design team member Sylvie, who did a fabulous postcard themed card using our Christmas Wees, and I wanted to take that and run with it for a fun summer themed card. So here we are, and I went over all of the stamps and dies that I used last week, so if you're interested you can check that out, but we'll also have everything listed in the supply list below the video as well for you if you're interested in checking out all the other stamps that came together to make this scene. This week we are going to be coloring up our tikis, and we are going to be using some of our earth tones and some of our yellows so that we can create a really cool kind of sunlit reflection off of that super shiny kind of polished teak look that we're going to create with these tikis. I'm going to start with E21. We're going to be using the E20s, like E21, E23, E25, E27. And I'm working on Catherine Pooler white cardstock, and I've stamped using Memento rich cocoa ink so that it gives the entire card kind of a vintage feel. I was wanting to kind of mimic the old like postcards, the Hawaiian postcards you'd see from like the 50s and 60s. So that was, I thought the using the brown ink would be helpful in achieving that look. So again, you can see I've got a little post-it up here with our little light source to remind you that I've established it's coming in from that upper left-hand side. That's why I'm leaving the left-hand side of our little tikis pretty light for now. I'm just trying to create a nice carved wood type effect on them. And that's going to rely a lot on, playing with the highlights. And that's why I'm doing this layer with the E21 to basically map out my dark areas versus my light areas. That's something I like to do. It makes me feel like I'm a little bit more in control of, what colors are going down where. It's just kind of a personal coloring habit that I developed over the years. Works for me. Okay, that's looking pretty good. All right, now I'm going to jump up to E27, which is going to be my darkest. And because I've got that light source coming in from the left-hand side, I'm just going to do some fine lines opposite that on each little layer of the carving. Now the raised kind of nose is going to drop a shadow, pretty heavy shadow, over on this side of the tiki, so I'm going to be a lot more generous with this darker color over here. directly beneath our little plumeria flowers. I'm going to drop some shadows, and then the little lip on this part of the carved cap of our Tiki totem. And the mouth is going to be inset, so I'm going to make it darker. And then pull down to there. Now I think I'll do them in pieces so I can work while the ink is still kind of wet. So I'm going to come in with the 25 next. And pull out from the 27. I'm going to bring it down along that nose. Pull out from the side. My E25 might be a little tacky. Hopefully it doesn't cause us much aggravation. Down to the E23. Back to the E21. And then to add our kind of sunlit glow, I'm going to come in with Y00. And a little bit of Y02. Just really let that merge right into our earth tones that we just laid down. Okay. And then we'll just repeat the process on our other two tikis. So jumped up to my E27. Nice and dark. Finding all the little carved areas that I want to kind of be recessed back and give them a little bit darker bit of color, and it's going to help raise the nose up by contrast there. Oops. Drop shadows under the ridges on the top of the tiki's head there. We're going to inset the mouth again, making it nice and dark. And we've got these little carved ridges down here. Okay. To the E25. We'll start on our darker side of our tiki. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . not sure if it's the 25 or the 27, but I'm thinking it's the 25 is causing me a little bit of grief here. It seems to be a little tacky. I am going to pause the video for a second and fix my marker because we got a lot more to do with this E25. Just a second. All right, I'm back with some happy markers, hopefully, so it'll save us a lot of grief. Let's make sure it's got a new nib in it. Let's get that ink flowing. There we go. Nothing like a happy marker. Reinforce that shadow under the nose. Okay. To our E23. Just going to use along the back side here. I do have a little rough area there just because before I clean the markers that we'll just kind of have to deal with. At least it's wood. So if there are little flaws in our wood, we're okay. But yes, lesson learned. Clean markers are happy markers. Be more vigilant and better about marker maintenance than I am. I should have known better since these E20s have been getting quite a workout from me this summer. They're playing well now. Oh, almost forgot down here. Okay. E21. Leaving just those little slivers of white. So when we come in with our yellows, they'll be able to stand out and be pretty pronounced. Time for our yellows. Y00. And if you want to keep it as just a more subtle kind of sunlit glow, you can do just this E00 and it will make a really beautiful shine on your teak wood. But I like to give it a little bit of punch, like we're really kind of at that golden hour of the day with a little bit of that O2 added in. So personal preference for you. Then we got one more little tiki down here. So let's see how we do with our newly cleaned markers all the way through. So E27. Inside of that mouth, on that side back here, under the lip of this kind of raised edge. And then on our little carved areas down here. Like so. E25. Yeah, going on much more smooth. Continuing to pull out from the darker side of the Tiki over to the lighter side. To our E23. Oh, and I forgot to add yellow to the little carved bits down there, so I'll have to remember to do that when we bring it in on this guy. Our E21. Y00. Again, just kind of letting those yellows meld right into your E20s. Golden it up with the Y02, totally optional. All right, so now we just have our plumeria that we need to color, and we'll be done for this week. I think we're going to stay consistent with our color palette. So for the leaves, I'm going to bring in that YG03 like we did on her skirt. Yeah, let's bring in our YG 95 and 97. Just hitting it in. You know, just kind of giving it a tap. Again, they're very small images. So to avoid kind of over coloring, I'm just basically giving them a little push of color. Just quick. Back to that 03, and we'll call those good. All right, so Plumeria are pretty much white with a little yellow center. I mean, there are other colors, but that's kind of the traditional one that comes to mind whenever I think of Plumeria. So I'm gonna come in some Y000, and from the center of the flower out, I'm just gonna pull some very light yellow, leaving those tips white, tips of the petals. Y00 that we've been using for our sunlight glow on our tikis. And we'll even use that 02. Why not? We'll keep our color palette pretty tight. Just dab in the center now with this darker one. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I think we can call that done for this week. So we've got our little hula dancer. She's got her tiki watching over her. And then I think next week we will do all the little, you know, leaves, the little coconut down here, our little pineapple that we added to create that stamp over in the corner. And yeah, that'll be fun. Okay. So thank you so much for joining me again, and stay crafty, my friends. Bye.